So while Jay is currently building the motor, we are still working on the car. We're gonna be bracing the subframe and then putting a locking kit in the rear end so it locks up the diff a little bit better, as well as the brakes. Unfortunately, it is time to depart with the chase base kit, but overall it worked. I just didn't like the single line system that much. Maybe for a drift car it's fine, but we're gonna go with a little bit bigger bore, dual line system. It's probably gonna be a little bit more reliable, a little bit better stopping power. And this is a bracket Al made, so Al was able to kind of drum this up for us, and it's all able to be bolted up and everything. We're still using the Ward Racing line kit, so the line kit that is used for deleting your ABS, and that line's still gonna work, I think. We had to lower that mounting position right there. Hopefully it still reaches. From what we can see in the mock-up, it does. If we have to add a fitting there on that line right there, we can. Also, shout out to Dad, because king of, you know, fittings and everything. Subframe, and then our camber track and tow arm, we are going to be obviously replacing. I'll show you that kit in a second. And a quick preview of what we've got. So all the adjustable bars that basically you need for a little bit more strength, adjustment, things like that. These are chromoly. They were powder coated, and they're going to be ready to go on here hopefully soon. And then what's in this is a relocator kit. So the clearance for the coilover is pretty close with a 8-inch wheel, 15 by 8, and then obviously a 255 tire on it. If you want to fit a 10-inch wheel with a 275, you will need that relocator kit. It will move that coilover in about, I think, close to 2 inches, an inch, 2 inch, whatever it may be. Something you have to do if you're gonna run a bigger wheel and tire setup, especially something that's gonna be flush with the fender as well. The rear end is out, finally. Obviously subframe out. Got our rear end completely disconnected from our axles. And get that rebuilt with the kit that we bought. And then all this is axles will leave, and then we're gonna be replacing all this, cleaning it, build the subframe, go from there. So these are the subframe bushings. What everybody usually does is they drill out around the side, or they heat out the center section of a subframe bushing. Now, I'm sure for rusted subframes, this might be a little bit different, might be more difficult, but you could do it this way where we've drilled it out. And then as you can see with this one, I started to bend in the bushing, and now it's already starting to slide out. So this one's almost done. Or you could do it as my dad just did one. And what's the other one? Yeah, this one. So you see how we started to drill out all around the edges to get the center section of it out? Don't necessarily need to do that. Might get lucky and drill out a little bit of it, like this one. And then basically it softens the rubber enough to where he was able to just kind of slide it out. Literally just started smacking around with a hammer and slid it right out. Now, obviously you can see some surface rust, so it might be holding on a little bit more, but, and then other subframes that are really rusted, maybe it'll hold on more, but everyone's saying like, oh, you need heat, you need to do this, you need to do that. I guess not always. This is way easier. And this is already out. Now I have to do I'm gonna have to do like a chisel or like a flathead screwdriver to get these out, because we've already, you know, cut out that. But I mean, honestly, that was way easier to just do that way, and then it came out in one piece. So, yep, this is the one that I was just knocking out of here. Literally did it within the next like few minutes. All I did was fold in one of the sides so that I could get like a bite on it, and then just slowly just hammer it around the outside, and then it fell out. All right, so back on the white drag Supra, we've got the subframe fully braced with everything that we wanted. We have plate here, and plate here, bar here, bar here. Now, Snow Bros, he is a dude on Instagram with a Mark III, but he drifts, added these bars, which isn't necessarily like something typical that people do. Usually it's just these bars, plates, and then a couple of other things. But he added these, and it was a pretty good idea. And then another buddy on Instagram with a red Mark III, can't remember his name, he also did those. Pretty good idea, just additional structure. And then same goes for back there. You can see the two small little bars in between the top and bottom of the subframe for just additional support. A lot of the time the subframes like to crack here in these areas. So I think that's gonna help a little bit. Rear end support, obviously any type of shock is gonna help. And then these are the pretty normal bars that people like to add a lot. And those are both welded on there with two little corner plates right here and right here for some additional structure. And my dad made these up, these two little eyelets that a lot of people like to weld into the corners here. Additional support again, because a lot of cracking likes to happen there typically. It was Kevin. Kevin, he's got a red 2JZ Mark III, and he also had a little bar down there. I liked that idea. So we went ahead and added just about as much as we possibly can. But yeah, that's the overall. Looks pretty good. And then here are our new billet aluminum bushings that are gonna go into the subframe. So this is from Parts Shop Max. They sell a kit of this for all of the 6 holes that are in the subframe. So basically you slide them in from the bottom. So from here, and it acts as a riser and something to kind of hold the subframe from under. And then we got some freshly cleaned hardware thanks to Dad. Okay, so when trying to put these in, we sprayed too much spray paint here and it collected a little bit inside here. And there's a couple of things holding up getting the bushing in. So what we did is we just got like a cylinder honer and cleaned all of this out. We did that also with WD-40, spraying it in there while cleaning it out. And then just smacking them in with a rubber mallet. And then there they all are. So all the bushings are in, they're all flat. You are supposed to put them in from the bottom up. So obviously the subframe is currently flipped, but I know that some have been confused on which way you put them in. It is definitely bottom up. You want the flat piece here, this lip, to be able to hold the subframe in. Subframe's probably not going anywhere, but that's kind of what they're there for. Also, you have this completely flat up against the actual chassis like it's meant to be. Okay, so today the subframe is going in the Supra. I'm gonna clean up some stuff underneath, just the surface rust, and I can clean up other things later. And then obviously these are gonna have bolts that go through into the chassis, and then these will be the nuts that go underneath to connect to the bolts that are hanging down there and there. All right, working on the white Supra still, and we've got the subframe back up in the car. Looks nice and shiny with this new paint, new bushings. These were a little bit of a bear. I think one of them we had to slot the hole just a little bit to get it to fit. But some of the stuff all the bolts were kind of bound up. Like it wasn't centered up perfectly. So just to get it in there, we did that. So we were pretty much good to go though. Now the next part is putting the rear end back up in there. Also, one last thing about this, a really good point that was made. See this bar right here? This is an additional structure bar that not a lot of drag racers add, but some of the drift car people do. Snow Bros, this was one of the things. He also warned me about this. You can see that mark right there on the frame where that bar is touching. And there is absolutely no clearance in between that. Now on this side, we don't have that problem as much. You can see there is a little bit of light through there, so there's more clearance. You can see how much lower it is on the lip of the subframe right there in the center versus the distance between the bar and the subframe. On this one, it was just placed a little too high, and we have clearance for it, but if you place it any higher than that, we have no clearance for it, but if we placed it any higher than that, then the subframe would not tuck up in there flush. But luckily the subframe is in there flush on all 6 points on each side, so we are good. But that is definitely something you need to worry about. Don't have that bar placed too high on that part of the subframe or it will not fit. Okay, all of the subframe arms are on. Subframe obviously in the car. We have our adjustable camber arm, tow arm, and track arm with our adjustable sway links. These were just from like Drift Motion, one of the kits that they sell. But all of this stuff from Evan Lewis in the Drag Mark III community. original bolts here and there, which is fine because obviously you have that slotted hole on these two for adjustable, and then you can always adjust them here if you need to, but then that's the real adjustment. Only downside is, of course, you have to kind of like unbolt them to adjust these. But luckily this bar is not like that. You can adjust it all you want. And then this one, just because the sway bar link is connected there, you can't really adjust this unless you take that off and either drop this bar or take this bar off. But it's way stronger, all chromoly. Sway bar links are stronger. We still have our factory sway bar on. And then same thing over here with our bushings, our aluminum bushings. And then lastly, we replaced this bushing in here. You can see the two. These are just energy suspension rubber bushings. Nothing fancy, but definitely stronger than the blown out bushing that these all have. That camber arm bushing is always blown out in these. Makes the wheel kind of shake back and forth. Now everything is super tight. So, yep, everything is done. I'm pretty happy with this. Get like a little wide angle shot. Okay, quick update on the subframe video. I wanted to just kind of go over real quickly a couple of things that we actually ended up changing on the subframe. So, as you can see here, this is a square plate. These are not factory bolts. And as you can see down there, same thing goes for those. And then on the backside, we have a lock nut washer and lock washer with another plate right there. You can see there are a couple of people online that actually sell these, typically aluminum. Dad went ahead and made these out of steel. We have a thin one on the back and then a thicker one on the, well, I guess this is the front, and then the other one is a little bit thicker here. Now we have that for both our camber arm and our toe arm, that exact combination. Reason being, not only do people have issues with these shifting while racing or hard driving, but literally going down the road, one of these shifted, even though I had them extremely tight. You know, it's that factory setup, these two measuring plate, well, I guess rotating plates, and then the washer and factory nut. It did move on me while driving. I literally felt the car shift and then start to turn. Like it wanted to almost like crab walk to the side that it was going. So not a fan of wanting to leave these with the chromoly adjustable bars. So we went with the plates, the bolts, the lock washers, washer and lock nut for safety precautions. We do not need the rear moving, especially in the middle of a pass.